Welcome to CCN News. I'm your host, Captivating Christian, and here are some of your top stories for today, March 10th. Bernie Sanders' new advisor apologizes for tweets calling Michelle Obama ugly. How Trump's business empire is cashing in on his 2020 campaign. Trump had contact with Congressmen Collins and Gates before they self-quarantined over the coronavirus concerns. Trump allies in America block Africans' path to U.S. asylum. And confirmed and presumptive cases of the virus in Georgia increased to 17. Governor Santos declares a state of emergency in Florida over the coronavirus. An Oregon man who threatened to kill black teen ordered to write an apology. Let's get to the news. Bernie Sanders' new advisor for this presidential campaign is redefining the answer to the question, tough day at work. Barely 2 days on the job, and Philip Anu, a renowned pro-black organizer and activist, has already having to explain himself over several tweets from years ago during President Barack Obama's 2 terms in the White House. But instead of being able to immediately focus on his task at hand, helping Sanders edge out Joe Biden for the Democratic nomination by advising the campaign on how to eat into the support of the former vice president's black voters, Anu has to spend the time apologizing for tweets and sentiments that focused on the former First Lady Michelle Obama. On the night of February 12th, a group backing Donald Trump's re-election campaign hosted a glitzy gala for large donors at the Trump International Hotel that featured the president. The super PAC, dubbed America First Action, is no stranger to Donald Trump's Washington, D.C. hotel. The super PAC, which has raised almost $48 million since 2017, has spent over $440,000 to host events at the Trump Hotel, making it the top source of campaign revenue for the hotel and the Trump family business, according to public data. And 1100 Pennsylvania, which tracks Trump's hotel events. Meanwhile, in mid-December, some mega donors rented pricey rooms at the hotel for 2-day events hosted by Trump Victoria, a fundraising committee for the president's 2020 campaign, which also drew Trump and Vice President Mike Pence. The hotel also seems to have capitalized on the high rate, and the cheapest rooms on Saturday the 14th of December during the 2-day meeting went for a whopping $6,719 compared to the usual rate of $500, according to the Watchdog Group. President Donald Trump has had contact with 2 Republican congressmen before they announced on Monday that they were entering a self-quarantine after learning that they had previously been exposed to someone who was diagnosed with the coronavirus. Representative Doug Collins of Georgia shook hands with Trump last Friday when the president traveled to Atlanta to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, where officials there briefed him on their response to the coronavirus, as well as Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida, who flew on Air Force One with Trump on Monday on a flight from Orlando to Joint Air Force Base Andrews in Maryland. The New York Times, citing 2 people with knowledge of the situation, reported that Gates learned shortly after the plane was airborne that he, like Collins, had come in contact with a person at the Conservative Political Actions Conference in Maryland late February, who since has been diagnosed with the coronavirus. Gates then sat in a section of the plane by himself, the newspaper reported. So it seems that President Donald Trump isn't the only world leader making it virtually impossible for many Africans to get asylum into the United States. He's getting plenty of help from the allies in the Americas. El Salvador is closing its doors as one of the few North and South American countries to welcome African visitors, depriving them of a starting point for their dangerous journey north by land. If asylum seekers make it to Mexico, they face a virtual barricade near the southern border. People from Cameroon who are escaping bloodshed that has killed tens of thousands often win asylum in the U.S., even more than other Africans, but they must first reach American soil. Most are English-speaking, fleeing torture from inflicting French-speaking government at war with separatists. Trump has called asylum a scam and adopted several policies to reduce the claim, including denying asylum to anyone who passes through another country on the way to the U.S. without seeking refuge there first. Border arrests plummeted 78% in January from a 13-year high in May. The number of Georgians infected by the disease caused by the coronavirus is quickly on the rise, with 6 confirmed diagnoses. Now, at least another 11 are presumptive positive, according to the Department of Public Health. The cases of the COVID-19 are mostly centered around the metro Atlanta area, with patients in Cherokee, Cobb, DeKalb, Lafayette, Fulton, and Gwinnett counties. 2 other cases are reported in Floyd and Polk counties as well. In a press conference on Monday, Brian Kemp urged the public to take precautions. If you're sick, do not go to work, do not attend large events. You will put others at risk. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has issued a state of emergency on Monday amidst the coronavirus outbreak. DeSantis' declaration will bring the state funds that would help Florida mobilize resources more effectively. Florida's congressmen flew on Air Force One before self-quarantining over coronavirus concerns. 2 people have died in Florida out of the 18 residents health officials say have been tested positive for the coronavirus. Of the 18 Floridians tested positive, 12 were diagnosed in Florida and 5 diagnosed in another state, according to the health department. In addition, a California resident now under self-isolation in Florida has tested positive. Florida's congressmen, 5 state representatives under self-quarantine over the coronavirus concern following a conference. Health officials across the country were quickly trying to contain the spread of the virus after threatening to blow off the head of an unarmed African-American teen. Michael James Black of Oregon, who is white, is only ordered to write an apology to the teen. He will not spend time in jail, but instead undergo 3 years of probation, 150 hours of community service, and anger management, as well as diversity training. This case, however, stems from an incident back in May of 2018 when Black was sitting alone in a lawn chair in his garage and saw the 14-year-old black teen who was unarmed riding his bike about 50 feet away from his home. The teen then reportedly pulled into the cul-de-sac and drove around with his bike. Black told him that he was on private property and began shouting racial slurs at him. When the teen continued biking, Black yelled, "I'll blow your head off." Before going into his home, the teen then rushed home as he thought the man was going to get a gun. Meanwhile, the teen told police that he thought the cul-de-sac that he pulled into was public and he was waiting there for his friends after basketball practice. The Deputy Attorney General, B.J. Parks, claims that Black threatened to shoot the teen and his friends simply because they walked by his house, and he didn't like that because of the victim's race. Black was recently found guilty of menacing and second-degree intimidation, which is considered to be a hate crime. However, he was only ordered to write an apology to the teen and complete 150 hours of community service. He was also placed on probation for possession of weapons. And once again, thank you for watching CCN News. I am your host, Captivating Christian. And as always, be the change you want to see. If you want change, the change starts with you. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. And leave comments below. I would like to hear what you think about these stories and more. All right, have a good day. Peace.